Welcome to the Whiskey Edition. I honestly don't even know how to start a video of this magnitude. Tonight, it's out of control. And I've said that before, and I'm going to say it many times tonight, how out of control it really is. And sometimes there's just not enough time. There's plenty of time to buy, not enough time to have, some drinks. So people say you need to make time for that. And I do, to some degree. But I enjoy putting these, do I even enjoy putting these out? I think I do. I think I enjoy putting videos out so, people can see what's out there, and, that you can build relationships with various places and be able to, purchase, nice bottles of bourbon and whiskey. And then you go on a trip, and then the relationship one place goes away, and then you find another one somewhere else. With all of that, there are still the tried and true places out of states, within your state and in other towns that you find some good things in, and you just can't pass them up, and you kind of want people to my tens and tens of followers to hear about them. So this will be I think a 3-part video. So we'll do the first part. There'll be a part 1. I'll put that somewhere here, and that will be up until I went to Kentucky for Bourbon Trail with my friends. That'll be part 2. So you could probably just skip to part 2 if you wanted to, even though it won't be minimally, it might be a little bit interesting, who knows. I'll try and put some of the pictures, on various spots of things. I'll download those and stick those in there. The editing of these is more of a headache than anything else. That sucks. And then post-Kentucky, and then, which includes a trip to Savannah and then back, and try and get it all wrapped up on this Memorial weekend. Hopefully it won't be super long. I'll rip through everything pretty quick. The hardest part is remembering what I bought where and for how much and why, and it's just a mess. So with no further ado, part 1. Okay, part 1. Heaven Hill 7-year Trevor Special. 2 Benchmark Small Batch. Now I've got all of the ones from, I believe, the Benchmark series, small batch, top floor, bonded, got them all. So if you can't get all the Blanton ones, you can get all these. Not all the, straight from the barrel, regular Blanton Gold, or all the Wellers, the full infinity cycle. You can get these and they're a lot cheaper. Same, we'll talk about that in part 2. Also, Trevor's picked up a 2025 one Booker's. He had this back there, and when you walk in the door and the guy says, "Well, what are you looking for?" and you're, "Well, I'm just here." Well, you got to have one of our store picks, so that's why I've got another Heaven Hill 7 store pick. Get back from, what else did I get in Arizona? Well, I'll get to that later. When I did get back, I went over to see Lee, Bourbon Baller Lee, at the Renton QFC, and he goes, Redwood Empire 101 Pipe Dream, got that one in. And we've got a Evergreen State 3 Old Forester running at 132.5 single barrel. Well, I gotta have one of those. Knob Creek single barrel, Baller Batch number 3. Gotta have one of those. And then he looks down and he goes, "I don't know why I've got this 10 cup." And I go, "I've been looking for a 10, but at a reasonable price he made me a deal that I couldn't pass up." Now I've got that. I had this in one of those big packs. It's on one of the other videos where I did them every day, and the 10 cup 10 was in there, and it's pretty good. I actually like that. Then here, this is going to be hard to find, another 10 cup Mount Sneffels. This is a 14-year-old, highest elevation 14150, release number 3 of the 14er series from 10 cup. Ran across town, got that. Then at the Safeway, I happened to be there at the right time, and he says, we have a straight rye, E.H. Taylor, and a Blanton's Gold. If you would like those, I said, well, while I'm here, why not? I'll take those. I don't remember where I got this. Keeper's Release. It might have been at a Total Wine. I don't know where I got it, but I picked that up too. So that was and also my friend from Austin picked this up for me. She went into her local store and said, my My boyfriend is a bourbon aficionado. I don't know if I'm the boyfriend or just the friend. Whatever I am. I might have to cut that out. She said he's a bourbon aficionado. What have you got? And so he said, oh, he'll like the Lady Bird Garrison Brothers. It's got some seeds on it, so I could plant some seeds up here. And Texas straight bourbon whiskey infused with honey, finished in cognac cask. So 114 proof. Bottle number 2260, so limited edition bottle. So this may have to wait for a special occasion to open that up. The bottle game is great. I mean, it's got this star in there and everything. So that was pre-Kentucky by like 2 days, maybe 3 days. And then everything else started off. Part two. Part two. Wardrobe change. Hopefully no malfunctions. Got into Kentucky the day after the Kentucky Derby. My friends were already there, raring to go. Bus picks us up about 9 o'clock. We go to have a quick breakfast at a fancy place. I had toast because I don't need a lot of breakfast. Then we were off and we headed out to Castle and Key right off the bat. The grounds are nice, maybe a few pictures here. I didn't pick up anything there, not sure why. I think everything there I could get here. So I just said, that's enough of that. The next stop was Woodford, a distillery, neat as a pin, almost sterile. And it was a very good tour, both. So Castle and Key, we had a tour. Woodford, we had a tour, picked up this in the gift shop. Happy Mother's Day. I always asked, is there anything here that I can't get here? Anything in the gift shop that I can't get where I live? And they said, yeah, the Happy Mother's Day Woodford release is distillery only, miles far away, but I'll be thinking of it when I have a sip of that. I think it's just regular. It's just regular, but it was personally selected by their master distiller, I believe is what they told me. Then what do we do? After that, what did we do after that? I think we went to Whiskey Thief Distilling. I got this bottle. You'll see in this, I'll embed it here. I don't know if I can talk as long as this. Cool place, you go in, you pay, I don't know what we paid in advance for everything. And we were on a van, so we didn't have to worry about, this bit. And they pull with a Whiskey Thief straight out of the barrel into your cup, and then you kind of have that cup, snatch cut the cup. I need to wash it out. Gross. So you get your cup, and you can go around and you can sample all the barrels that they have open. I thought for the channel, of course, I'm going to, buy one of these. And I was looking at the high proof one, the 95.5 rye. They say it is theirs. 95.5, we know, kind of comes out of Indiana, but they say that it is their distillate from their, probably see the little video, a picture at least of their distiller they have there. And they had mash going, so there's no doubt that they are distilling. 6 years old, but this one was off to the side in another area there where they were, if they were doing private ones over there or what, but one of our crew said, hey, you should try this one. So I tried that one, so I'll get that one. So picked up this. So that's the longest one of these segments is the Whiskey Thief Distilling. Good times. We all had a really great time at that distillery and tasting. It wasn't organized at all. They had, normally they would have food trucks and all kinds of things going, but when you're on a tour, you're kind of limited in time anyway. That would be a good place to go if you were there for, and you could get out there and enjoy the grounds and the tasting and everything they had going. So that was Whiskey Thief Distilling. Then downtown, I think we went downtown and everybody else peeled off and went to Bardstown, down on Main Street in Louisville. I went to Evan Williams, said, I heard you have these 12-year-olds. He goes, they need to take the tour. And I'm like, I'll come back and take the tour. And he goes, I'll sell you a bottle. So this one can't get. It's in the distillery as far as I know. So that was kind of cool. And after that, we went to a Blanton's tasting, like a 1980 picture somewhere. Syrup, and that decade, maybe one from the 90s, and then from 2025, and tasting the difference between them all. And the others are really obviously very old, and this is pretty new. He said we had a store pick of Knob Creek cask strength that everybody was going crazy about. He had a few bottles left, probably just a sales pitch, but I can't even say it's like Mississippi Thuga. So I picked up this from there. I think, when a place has a store pick, people are buying it up, and you want to support them in a way that, rather than just giving them a tip, buying their bottles, I think is a good way to do it. So that's what we did. And then I think we went back to town, back down on Main Street, where there are a lot of distilleries. Michter's down there, Evan Williams Tours down there, Bardstown Tours, and it's not really a tour, it's a tasting room. Old Forester, get to that in a sec, maybe. And then we went to Angel's Envy. We didn't go to the others. We went to Angel's Envy, and really a very nice place. I highly recommend going there, taking their tour and tasting. Fantastic gift shop. Angel's Envy Distillery, 110 proof single barrel. I think this is only available there. It is not a finished single barrel, straight. Oh, this one is finished. What am I talking about? I'll get to the one I'm talking about in a second. So this one is finished in port wine barrels, but it was distillery only. Okay, and maybe the new bottles are pretty sturdy. What I am talking about is this Bottled and Bond Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This one is in 375s, and you can only get there at the distillery. I picked up a couple of these. If you saw that, but you see them in the wild. I think we had a tasting of this. Very good. So this, I don't know if it was warehouse there or offsite, but they had a Bottled and Bond warehouse, and that was cool. Next day, we went to Buffalo Trace, another word change. And you'll see in the pictures here of the gift shop, wow, they had a lot of stuff. So we went into the gift shop on the front side of the tour. Then we took the tour, and it was about a month, maybe not even a month, after the massive flooding. And here's some photos. You can see the water line on this one. That's probably one of the more important ones. Here's some barrels that were probably underwater, and they're thinking they got to test the barrels to make sure that they didn't infuse any of the river water that flooded into it. You wouldn't think it would, because the barrels aren't leaking out, so water couldn't get in. All going to be tested, and they'll probably market those barrels as, the flood barrels, like the tornado warehouse barrels and all those others. So look forward to that. Coming back after the tour, a couple things, were kind of shut down because they were cleaning out a lot of new electrical panels, a lot of new stuff, air blowing everywhere, getting everything cleaned out. Very impressive they were able to turn that place around as fast as they did. But you can see on that building, the water line, how high that water got. And it doesn't do it justice until you kind of stand next to it and you're like, yeah, that was over my head. 6-7 feet of water up in there. But back in the gift shop, they had tables of Blanton's, and they had tables or racks of Weller Special Reserve for $30. So you could get one of those. So I got one of those, even though I've got those. But I was talking to a friend of mine. We don't have that one. Could you get us one? They had this one. They didn't need another one. So got that anyway. But what they also had, 375. Sometimes I get the 200s confused. And this bottle was, you could only buy one. It's like $15. Discontinued. So others in my crew, our crew, weren't interested in them, so I had them buy. So I have a bunch of them, like 6. And this, I got this there too. This is a 200. I don't know, you just don't see these out in the wild much, if ever, so picked up one of these. Sazerac Rye. Do I have that down here somewhere? Oh yeah. They didn't have these, but they did have these, so maybe together they'll make a little collage or something. Because I need more of those in my life. Yeah, got a couple of those. What was next? Luxrow. That distillery was pretty cool. Their thing there, they had a big gift shop. Yeah, they had a Rebel. So they do a bunch of different stuff. Oh yeah, they did that too. So they do the Rebel line, which used to be the Rebel Yellow line. So if you have a Rebel Yellow bottle that's not open, you probably shouldn't open it because that's like discontinued or something. I think we're talking about. But they have the Lux Row line and Davies County. I'll show you that in a sec. So that was a neat place to go. Interesting. Had a good taste. I think that was just a tasting. I don't think we did a tour there. They all run together. I tell you what. This is a double barrel aged 12-year limited edition. Kind of a distillery only. So I picked up one of those. It's got the, kind of blacked out there. It's weird. The copper stopper turns into a ice imprinter. So you take that out and you can, I guess, push it into a piece of ice and say Lux Row and it's look on it backwards because that's not backwards on there. And then I got this. I thought this was neat to do on the other channel someday when I get around to it. It's the Davies County Bourbon Discover the Art of Whiskey Blending. I can't even make a mixed drink. What makes me think I could do this? Well, it's got, actually my opening. It's got instructions and beakers and pipettes and all kinds of stuff in it. And then it comes also with 3 small 200s to do some mixing with. So it's got the straight bourbon finished in oak, straight bourbon, just straight bourbon, not finished in anything. Well, French oak, not oak. It's all in oak. And then this one's finished in Cab Sauvignon Carignan wine barrels cask. So those go with this over here. Thought that was kind of an interesting box. It was like something they were doing there at the distillery, and it didn't work out so well. So they were just selling them off, and I'll take one of those. So probably don't need that, but there it is. Something interesting, distillery only, and that's what I was looking for. Then we went to Four Roses, and a couple of us actually had, before we went out to Four Roses, we went to Churchill Downs and did like a post Kentucky Derby tour. Pretty interesting video they did and all that. So a little non-bourbon, but you could buy bourbon in the Churchill Downs gift shop, like Churchill Downs only stuff. But as you can kind of tell by this lineup, I was out of space. But not so out of space that I couldn't fit in Four Roses single barrel from the distillery where we tasted side by side OESO, OESK, and then the rest of the line. Don't sleep on this bottle if you see the OESO. For me, my palate, it is smooth, buttery, and it is fantastic. I mean, it really was really very good. So pretty happy to pick that up. One of the other distilleries we went to, I think I just bought a glass. Yeah. Did I finish? Oh, I did buy a shirt there. Preservation Distillery. I think they gave us this glass because we used them. They had a bottle. They do Old St. Nick, Preservation, Rare Character. They do a bunch of different ones. Cock of the Walk, Waddy Boom. Got a bottle of Waddy Boom that I got down the street. So they do a bunch of different things. The distillery is not giant like, obviously, Lux or Buffalo Trace or Woodford. So it's bigger than like the Whiskey Thief one that you saw the picture of. I might have a picture of Preservation's distillery here somewhere. But, and that's kind of their thing, is they're not doing a huge, they're constantly running, but not at the scale that the others are running at. But where I'm going with all this is the Old St. Nick. I'll try to remember to put it up here in my massive editing skills. That is on the Minnick list. They had, it was $300. I said no, but could I taste it? And the guy kind of went back and forth, and he goes, yeah, why don't we do a taste after you do your other tasting? Oh, that's great. Well, it turns out that one was within the tasting of the 5 that we had after the tour. Glad I didn't spend the $300. That one in the mitic list for me will not fall very high. It was kind of just not my jam. Had a lot of complexity, but unless you like kind of earthy, dirty dirt, like, I don't know, that one wasn't my jam at all. So that one was left. So now I think we're pretty much done with the tours. I did go to Old Forester and I got a shirt. I was out of space. They have down on Main Street in Louisville, they have they've got Michter's, they've got Old Forester, Evan Williamson. So with the Old Forester bit, you can buy a bottle like they were releasing 1924 that day. People come in every morning when they open to see what they're putting out for sale, because they have kind of all the standard stuff, well, this is a mix that I did, but you know, they usually have the 110, the 1910, the 1920, the regular line. They have all that stuff that you can buy, but the 1924 is the new one, and that one's a little bit more of a challenge to get, but I've got a couple of them from up here, so I didn't need that one. So I bought this shirt because I thought it was kind of cool. Whiskey Tango Forester. What the F, which is all I can say about the mass quantities of booze purchased in the last 2 months, but we're not even done. Somewhere I gotta clip this in because it's before part 3, because I'm not done with part 2 yet. So still in part 2, still in the Whiskey Tango F Forester shirt, we did go out to Heaven Hill. I think that was where you could fill your own bottle experience. We didn't really tour the grounds. Here's some pictures of the Heaven Hill grounds. They were just fantastic. Just something to see. The only thing I got, I think that's the only thing I got from Heaven Hill, I think so, was this little Grenade Elijah Craig 125 proof barrel select in this little bottle. I thought that was pretty cool, so picked up one of those. I think it was 1 per, and it was like $40. So I was like, well, that'll find a place on the shelf somewhere. In addition to all of the, you know, bourbons and whiskeys, the glasses you saw, I did pick up a whole bunch of these smaller. I did get a glass at Heaven Hill. Buffalo Trace. Another Heaven Hill Castle and Key. I think I got the Heaven Hill ones because they were $6, $7 at Heaven Hill, and a Castle and Key, and everywhere else they were $12, $13. Here's a Four Roses one. So now I have these smaller ones because, you know, I'm a wimp and I don't want to be drinking initially Lux Row. The one I did want to come back with, because it wasn't a Glencairn, was the one from Woodford, and that is the one that broke. So, yeah. We have part 3 coming. I'm just going to leave this shirt on, I think. So, part 3. And you'll notice from part 2, or maybe you won't notice, and this will be cut out, the sound leveling was a bit off because Dum Dum here forgot to put the microphone back on for each of the wardrobe changes, so there was the wardrobe malfunction I warned about. Gosh darn it. Part 3 is about relationships, and those that come and go when you're in the whiskey bourbon world, vodka, whatever world you're into, and you frequent a couple places to find, you know, hard to find bottles, and they let you know when things are here, when they're not here, and that sort of thing. So as I was sitting in the airport waiting to go to Kentucky, I get a text from a buddy of mine who used to work at the liquor store down the street. He said, hey, a girl we used to work with let me know to let you know that there's a Heaven Hill 19 down there. If you want her to hold it, she will. Oh. I said I would, but then I said, I better call. So I called, and she wasn't there. All right, well, that's great. So then I thought about it, and I called back, and I said, hey, this is Rob. Oh yeah, hey, how's it going, Rob? I heard there was a Heaven Hill 19 down there. Yep. Can I buy it over the phone? Well, we don't have a way to do that, but we'll hold it for you. So they held it for me. And I went, after I got back from Kentucky, I went and picked it up the next day. They still had my name on it, so that worked out great, even though I think they put Rod on it instead of Rob, but that was fine. Then I went back. When did I go back? Did I go back? So that was before, okay, that was before Kentucky. Then all the part 2 Kentucky stuff, which I totally botched on the microphone. I went in and there's a new guy. I go, what happened to the old guys? Oh, we're the new owners. And I knew that was coming. And talked to, I think it's Amir? No, Ephraim? I think it's Ephraim. I talked to him for a bit, got to know him a little bit, and he goes, well, hey, we have a, that's not it. Is that it? What's this? No, that's not it. We have a barrel select, Blanton's. I said, well, Noble Spirits. And he goes, that's our other store. So they have many stores, not many, they have several stores. And they're able to get, you know, more bottles that way because they have more, wax is good, pretty good. More bottles that way, more buying power within the different distributors. So he was able to get this. It's a 9/25/24 dump date. And yeah, I said, sure, I'll take that. That's great. I'll add that to the Blanton's pile and see how it tastes up against some of the ones that aren't picked. So that was kind of neat to have a pick. And then I picked up, I got this Weller 107 somewhere, but I forgot where I got it. That's not good. I think I got that at Safeway because they also had a Sazerac Buffalo Trace pick for 30 bucks, so I picked that up too. I like to buy the barrel picks because their profile is a little bit different than the regular one, and so somebody's gone through and made some effort. So I typically pick one of those up, and a Buffalo Trace one is pretty inexpensive. So then I'm off to, where am I going? Savannah. Go to Savannah, and I go to Broughton Liquors. I'll put a quick video of their shelf up there. They had all the stuff, but they also had in all this stuff these 2 new riffs that are on Minnick's list, 8-year bourbon and 8-year rye, so pick those up. And in addition, that guy does, here's all his barrel picks. This is a Penelope Project X straight bourbon whiskey finished in Oloroso sherry and cognac cask. So it's a double finish. It was really good. He had samples, so that was another 108 proof, was another not really a relationship, but I don't think if I didn't talk to him for a while and gotten a sample or 2 of the 2 different ones side by side, this would have happened. So maybe it's not a relationship if I'm leaving town, but having a conversation with the proprietor and what he likes and what he's getting in, I said, of all these, which would you pick? And there were others that were more expensive, so that was a good pick, I think, from him. Then, after it's all over, I'm on my way back up to the northwest. I'm at the Savannah Airport, and I just go up towards the gate, and I look over and I'm like, what's this? There's the picture. It's a liquor store in the airport, just like in Nashville and like I think in Lexington. And I said, well, I popped in there and I didn't have much time, so she goes, oh, this one's really unique. Bluffton Whiskey, State of Mind, Carolina Gold Rice. So this is a rice whiskey that can go up against the Mellick. And then their local Savannah single barrel Bound Reserve, 108 proof. Got a cool bottle and got a big tag on it. So they got me on those 2. Shouldn't say they got me, but I was looking for something more local to that area, other than that Penelope is obviously in GP that they barreled and dumped and all that together. And then these 2 are kind of more of the, what would you call them? Souvenirs. I get back, I go to my normal haunts, go talk to the gal down the street at the Thriftway. She had a few things there, but she also had this Elmer, this Tequila Corazon Expressions, aged or bottled, bourboned. Getting tired, I guess. This bottle is aged for 12 months in an Elmer T. Lee cask. So I can read that. That's what it looks like. I've got the one in, I think, Weller, and I've got one in George T. Stagg or William Weller LaRue and George T. Stagcast. So I've got those two. Also, that one, I don't know what the series is. Then I went out to see Lee Bourbon Baller Lee out at the QFC, so we're coming full circle because somewhere in here I picked up something from him earlier. I got the Rio, it's not the original one, it's a little bit lighter I think, but he had a bunch of these, so I picked up one of those to add to the Havana. He says, do you have a Blanton's Gold? I said, I always use Blanton's Gold, so picked up another Blanton's Gold in case I need that for anything. And his store pick, the QFC Barrel Select, so we'll be having a QFC versus Safeway on the Buffalo Trace. So that is the haul from all three segments. If you've sticked around this long, I really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. Go back and watch. I may have had to redo the middle. I guess we'll find out. If I have to redo the middle, I won't be happy, but it's all about the videos for everybody. So cheers. I had a lot to drink the last couple days, so take a little water here. Again, like, share, subscribe, and cheers. We'll see you hopefully in 6 months, and I've only bought a few bottles instead of 2 months and 30 bottles or whatever. It's out of control.